I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Begin the meeting with a moment of silence, and as we do, if you could keep in mind the Palazzo family. Sandra Palazzo, the wife of Peter Palazzo, who has been the electrical inspector for the town of Whitman for forever, just passed away. The arrangements haven't been made yet, but if you just could keep that family in your mind, it would be great. This meeting is being recorded and televised by WHCA, and the first item on the agenda is the reorganization of the Select Board. So it's my pleasure to hand the gavel over to Mary Beth, who runs the election.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to accept nominations to reorganize the board, starting with the chair.
I like to keep things the same. I'm going to motion Carl to be chair.
Second that.
Okay. And all in favor? Probably should have said other.
Now I have to take that back, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. The second. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure for me to be the chair of this board, particularly this board, and I'm looking forward to doing it again for another year. Could be my last roundup, but I thought that a few years ago too. Who can tell? I don't know. Anyhow, now I'd like to accept nominations for vice chair.
I'd say Dan Silvucci.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion? Oh, all those in favor?
Thank you, everybody.
And finally, for clerk, is there a nomination?
Nominate Justin.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And welcome back. It's
Yeah.
good to see you. Really good
Thank
to see.
you.
Really good to see you. Okay, the approval of bill and payroll warrants. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Accept correspondence in the read file. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public forum. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on something that's not on the agenda? Approval of meeting? Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, please. Or now? Sounds good.
You identify yourself?
I'm Donnie Watson. I'm from Old Colony Way.
Okay.
I just wanted to inquire about who would have the jurisdiction, who would I talk to about the towers going up? The cell towers?
Cell towers.
Yeah, maybe like,
Okay. You have a clue?
I believe they need some approval from the zoning board, but I don't know that for sure. I would start with the building department and go from there. I don't think it goes through our office, does it?
No, I haven't seen
Yeah.
anything on that.
Zoning? Yeah.
And it is a zoning
It
board.
is. I should have known that Bob was in the audience. Yeah.
the zoning board?
Zoning board. Yeah. So reach out to the chairs, John Goldrosen.
Sorry, who is it?
John Goldrosen.
Cool. Cool. All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is approve meeting minutes, open session January 21st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Open session February 4th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? And it's reached 7:05, so we have a public meeting with respect to the application of Guru Dine Express Incorporated, doing business as Marcelo's, Muhammad, my glasses, Irfan, for a common vittler's license on the premises located at 733 Bedford Street, subject to the receipt of a license fee.
So moved.
Second.
Or a second. Is Muhammad here?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to say anything? You don't.
Give yourself a.
Okay. Okay. Okay, anyone have any questions?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
May I?
Now we need to act to rescind, a motion to rescind the common vittler's license and the common vittler's all alcohol license for Marcello's, Andrew Peach, at the same location.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Good luck, Mohammed.
May I say something? May I say something to them?
Next item on the agenda is the chairman's report.
Thank them for their service.
The only thing I'd like to report today, I think, is how
Thank you.
happy I was. We'll let them go. With the performance of the people who fashioned the town meeting's budget discussions and reports, managed the forums, just thought that Justin, Sean, Mary Beth, Kathy Keefe, Kathy Otina did a remarkable job coming up with a description of what we were about to go through in a way that was understandable enough for there to be a vote on election day that, while I wasn't that crazy about the way the vote went, it was a vote that was clearly by a large group of people who were well informed about what was going to be happening to the town. And as I said, I think before the meeting, to have the finance committee and the select board act with the kind of togetherness that they acted with throughout the last budget year is rare. It's rare. And I look forward to that relationship continuing in the future. We still have issues around affording the kind of town that we would like to have, that we think we do have. And so there's some discussions that are going to be going on very shortly. But as far as the preparation leading up to town meeting, I think it was a very good job, and one that we cannot say that we did not let our public know exactly what was going on. What I'd like to do now is to turn my part of the chairman's report over to Sean, who would like to give a budget update.
Yeah, just quickly. This next step in the budget process is definitely a precarious one. I think we need to be very careful about how we proceed, and we're going to great lengths to make sure that we're being thorough and precise. We're not going to rush into anything, and we've also reached out to the schools and to the finance committee chair to make sure that they're in the loop in how we proceed in this next step. So we'll have a small working group that's going to be working under Mary Beth Carter to make sure that those things are priority. Obviously, there's a lot of people that depend on us right now, and we care very much and are concerned about the employees who are affected by the failed override. So I feel like there's a lot riding on making sure that we do things right. The next step could get really complicated depending on how things go. So trying to be collaborative, trying to have integrity behind, the message that we've been sending, and kind of staying very close to that message as we move forward. I think those things are important. And also, listening and caring about the people who are affected by it most. So.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. First of all, I was happy with the amount of people that came out and voted. And as I always said, as town meeting says, they say I do as a board member. And town election, as they say I do. And overwhelmingly was voted against due to the increase in increase in taxes that some people were afraid of. That being said, I think maybe one way of going about it, Mary Beth, and you've been working so hard to deal with this budget and do the best you can. But I'm wondering, if we have a specific number for each department, present that to the department head of that department and say, okay, can you come with a budget to meet this? Let them make their cuts. That's what we do with South River Tech. Tom gives them a budget, and there are line items that you can't cut. I mean, that are stable. But there are other ways that you can cut and save money, and who knows best but the department head. So it might be a way to go say, okay, I can give you 300,000. I'm just using the number, $300,000. That's the most. I know you came with 340. Can you cut? Where can you cut that other amount? Because people said no, and we can only go so much without going in a deficit, and see what they come up with. But it might be a way to go.
My understanding, Mary Beth, is that you have regular meetings with the department heads,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
they've discussed all of these things before the Article 2 was made.
True, and we've already trimmed back
Right.
quite a bit. And there are departments where there is nowhere to cut, like the accountant's
Right.
office, or, the assessor's office, or the Board of Health. I mean, they only have a few lines, they have a small budget, so there really isn't anywhere other than personnel. Their expense budget might be $500 or something.
Right.
There's not any real room. We've looked at that. We've looked at the best way that we can make reductions, with the least amount of impact. But rather than saying, two positions, it would be the equivalent of two positions. And then the different departments, if they can, make cuts within their entire budget instead of a person laying somebody off.
Right,
find a
exactly.
way.
That's what I
So
meant,
it's a
yeah.
combination of what you're saying, but it's not across the board that would work, because a lot of them, there's just,
Some of the
No room.
large departments, it's very easy to say, okay, I'll cut in personnel. I.e., we'll say the schools. I'll have to let go 15 teachers and this and that, right? That's the easy way out. The hard way out and the right way is to look at your budget and look at every individual dollar spent and be able to deal with it instead of, if you say 1 or 2 employees, the point is, you don't take the easy way out and say, I'm just going to lay people off.
when it
Not
was,
the right way to go. I've done budgets a long time in the company that I worked for.
Yeah.
And that's basically how I worked it, and it seemed to work.
in working with the different department heads, I took like a zero-based budget approach.
Yeah,
So I
right.
looked at what was spent last year, how much money, if any, they had left over, how close they were, what their reserves were. So I looked at all that as the budget requests came in.
Mm-hmm.
And people, not everybody followed, the directive and, said, I really need more or whatever, and showed why, or other times said, yes, that's not really what will work, we have to reduce that. So I think we did a lot of that groundwork up front. But still, there will, this is going to ebb and flow as we look at, the numbers now. And we'll do our best to keep the impact as low as possible. But unfortunately, I don't see that we're able to reduce the budget without reducing staff in some areas.
What are we looking for the schools to max out at?
Well, that number we're working on now. So we really don't have that this evening to share for that exact
Okay.
number. But I
Okay.
did want to I had a discussion with the superintendent, and I'd like to get him a number by the end of the week.
Good, thank you.
I just wanted, my impression when you were talking, Dan, was that Mary Beth was sitting there in her office making cuts, and then the department heads had to.
No, I didn't mean that at all. I know that she had meetings with them.
They've all been involved in
Yeah.
the process up
Yeah.
to this point.
I apologize if that's where I came
No,
across.
no. I understand.
Well, it could have been
Yeah.
my understanding, my misunderstanding. Okay, good. New business, Michelle Lamartina, DFS holiday tree lighting.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
How are you? I was just coming before the board again, as I do every year. This year would be on behalf of Whitman Hanson Dolls for Scholars. This year would be our 6th annual holiday tree lighting. As most of you know, we started it during COVID because we were experiencing lack of fundraising, and it caught on pretty well that one year we did it. So We're coming back for a 6th year. So we were looking to request use of Town Hall on December 5th and 6th, which would be Friday and Saturday. And then we usually clean up Town Hall Saturday evening. Don't use Town Hall on Sunday. And then we use the outdoor area on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 3 days. So we would appreciate use of it. It is our largest fundraiser of the year, to raise money for scholarships for the seniors. We're, pretty proud to announce next week at the awards night this year, we're awarding over $180,000 again this year. So every year we raise our goal and we seem to meet it. So again, this is one of the biggest ones we have, and every year it gets bigger and more people get involved, and they seem to love it. So we would appreciate it for your support to be able to use Town Hall and the town park.
Okay, is there a motion to give Michelle Lamartina everything she wants?
Absolutely. Yes, I'll second.
Okay, well, let me change what I want. No.
I think Dan seconded. I apologize.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Unbelievable work you guys are doing.
Right.
Thank you very,
Thanks,
very
Dan.
much, Michelle.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a great group and a lot of support in the community, people who have kids in the schools, don't have kids in the schools, businesses. So it's greatly appreciated. We do have a lot of businesses that support us and, see where the money goes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Act on the recommendation of the Council on Aging to nominate Mary Holland to serve as the town's representative on the Board of Directors for Old Colony Elder Services for the period July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the request of Brittany Cavallo to be appointed to the Fair Housing Committee for a one-year term through June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the resignation of Wayne Andrews from the position of member of the Zoning Board of Appeals effective May 8th, 2025.
So moved with regret.
Is
Second.
there a second? Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you to Wayne. I mean, he's been on it for so many years. 40 years. Is it 40 years? Unbelievable. I mean, I see him every Sunday in church, and I didn't realize this, and I will say something to him Sunday when I go back and say why, but he did a great job, and I appreciate what he did for the town.
I second everything Dan just said. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, can I just add something?
Yes.
Okay, so we did receive a letter from the Office of the Town Clerk just stating that Wayne had resigned, and just wanted to make the board aware that a joint meeting of the Planning Board and the Select Board should be held to appoint a new member to fill this vacancy.
Oh, then what are we doing with the next motion?
So I think did he resign his planning board seat as well?
Yes.
So that's probably for,
Okay, this is for the Planning
yeah,
Board.
Wayne
Okay.
held both
Yep.
seats.
Okay, do we have that one on here for the Planning Board? Okay, so we can continue with the zoning. But he did also withdraw from the planning, and just for the Planning Board, there'd need to be a joint meeting when we fill that one.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Act to appoint Robert Kimball to the position of member Zoning Board of Appeals for a 5-year term through June 30th, 2026 in order to fill an existing vacancy.
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye. Congrats.
Act to rescind the appointment of Robert Kimball from the position of Associate Member Zoning Board of Appeals, effective immediately.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Act to appoint Edward Winnett to the position of Associate Member Zoning Board of Appeals for a 2-year term through June 30th, 2026 in order to fill an existing vacancy.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Act on the resignation of Kristen Kolszewski from the position of member of the Recreation Commission, effective May 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act to approve Whitman Public Library Employees Union, SEIU Local 888 Collective Bargaining Agreement.
So moved.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Is there a second? Mary Beth, would you like to say anything?
Yes, actually, on the library union, we did approve the MOU in April, and so this is just incorporating the MOU for the library union into the final CBA, and we've checked the language on it, and it's all incorporated perfectly, so, yep.
So is there a motion to approve the CBA?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Next item on the agenda is the municipal equity referral to the bylaw study committee. Mary Beth.
Yes, the CCC, Cannabis Control Commission, has required that the towns have a municipal equity bylaw or ordinance put in place, and so I would just like permission to refer the municipal equity model or some information on one that we could come up with, if not the model, then another version, to the bylaw study committee for review.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just to kind of back up, we had previously approved policy to meet the requirements. The CCC had since required a bylaw or an ordinance, as Mary Beth said. So this is just to get back in compliance with the CCC requirements.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Schedule special town meeting. Mary Beth.
Yes, so we'd like to schedule a special town meeting now that the override, has been decided. We need to rework Article 2. And so we'd like to have the special town meeting on Wednesday, June 11th, and we're looking at an earlier start time of 6 p.m. So basically, with thinking just keeping the warrant very lean, a couple of articles possibly for the unions, police and fire, in case they settle before it gets posted, and then reworking Article 2. So basically, they would have to be posted, I would think, by the 30th. So there'll be very, few items. The Article 2 will not be embedded in what gets posted, the final version before next Thursday. However, we will have the Article 2 on there and possibly 2 other union articles for June 11th, Wednesday, at 6 p.m., if that works.
Any discussion? Yes.
Just for Mary Beth, could you clarify, because we're changing both the night of the week and the time, why we're doing both of those things for the public?
Oh, sure. As far as the evening, just due to the vacation schedule of the moderator, of town council, that was the date that everybody could make. And as far as the time, we did get a request from the COA director, just saying a lot of the people that attend the COA, they, don't really like to drive in the evening, or come out and be into have a late evening. So they requested if it could possibly be on a weekend or at an earlier time. And I did speak with the clerk. I think years ago, they did do a Saturday meeting, and that, she said, did not work well at all. So we're thinking still keep it to a weekday, but starting with the earlier time where it's a special town meeting, we don't have to wait for that article, to be approved that we changed for the annual. The special, it's at your discretion. So.
Okay. Yes. Yes, Bob.
Bob Kimball, 877 Auburnville Way. A couple questions. We voted a number of articles in the annual town meeting to spend a lot of money. Is there any way that we can go back to those articles and take some of the money out of those articles to fund the regular budget?
Those articles, that meeting is over, and those were decided. So those are not being put back on this warrant again. The whole warrant is not being repeated. It's just the Article 2.
Okay, when will the warrant be closed if anybody wants to have a petition to put an article into this town meeting, special town meeting?
Well, it does have to be posted by next Thursday. So basically, I was just hoping that just basing it on the couple of things that we discussed, that's all that would pretty much be on there.
Yeah, we weren't anticipating encouraging new articles for this. What we're trying to do is to clean up
It's
what
the
happened
right of the
after town
people
meeting.
to put an article in if they'd like to put one in.
I'm sorry.
It's the right of the people to put an article in if they want to put an article in.
Okay.
Secondly, I think there was a lot of spending done, and there's a lot of things maybe we could take money away from. I know that it was so voted, but it's just a suggestion. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you. Could you make it clear when,
The citizens petition,
Yeah.
yes. And if you had the proper information and the proper amount of signatures, I believe it's up until the time that it has to be posted. And I'm thinking the latest that I would be posting would probably be the Thursday, next Thursday.
I think, and just 14 days before would be next Wednesday. So I would maybe not wait till Thursday.
Okay, well, all right. So the clerk may even, I have an email to the clerk asking her for the specific date
Yeah.
that she wants it. And don't forget, Monday's a holiday. So
Yeah.
I'd say Tuesday,
I mean, the
Tuesday,
board
'cause I'd have
probably
to
has to sign
prepare
it
it.
next Tuesday.
right?
We're kind of up against the gun because time is really important. You know, the June 1st date is really significant for both the town and the schools. So we don't want to move too quickly that we aren't, you know, paying attention to privileges that citizens have a right to, you know, or options that they may want to take advantage of. But at the same time, we want to be moving right along so we can keep the process going. But I appreciate the feedback for sure.
Just one other comment. The money that we voted for free cash is money that is not suggested to be used for the budget because it is one-time money and it's not money you want to put in for recurring expenses each and every year. And that's something finance director, the accountant, anybody would tell you, you have to get away from using free cash for your operating budget. So we've worked hard to get away from that.
Just a message from the clerk. So yeah, it would have to be 14 days would be the 28th, next Wednesday. And for a special town meeting, she says it's 100 signatures for a citizen's petition. An annual is 10. So it's a high burden in a short time if you wanted to get something.
Thank you.
so, have we voted on have we voted on having the special town meeting that night yet? I don't think we have.
No, I think we did discussion.
Okay. Someone make a motion for
I'll make a motion.
special town meeting at 6 o'clock. And we'll have a select board meeting at 5:30.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, we put that on.
Yep.
Sorry. So opening and closing the warrant, the process for that, what will we do for that?
So if we're going to vote it then before it gets posted, we would have to have a quick Zoom meeting or something to close that before Wednesday. But I was hoping that we could just open it today and close it, thinking that it would just be a couple of articles unless we received a citizen's petition with 100 signatures. We were hoping to keep it very tight to just 2 union articles and Article 2.
So
Can we do
then
that, open and close tonight for that meeting?
I think that's
Are you asking us? You were looking out here, right?
Sorry. Just while you're here, I thought maybe.
So Peter's looking
Okay,
madly.
sorry.
I thought what you usually did is you open it, you have a period of time, and then you close it, which is probably the same date that you vote to approve it, right? That's typically how I think you do it. It does have to be posted 14 days out. So if that's the 28th, then I would say by the Tuesday, you have to approve it, whether you leave it open until that morning and close it then so that you can vote on it that afternoon or evening, that's fine. But my memory, I don't recall an opening and closing within the same hour has previously occurred. If it has, you'll have to refresh my memory.
No, I think what we've done in the past is that we've opened it and set the closing date.
Exactly.
The This is a short time because it has to be
But this is,
posted.
with all due respect, no time.
Exactly. No.
So I think, I really do think you have to give some time if you're going to open the warrant and before you close it.
And I think it
sometime.
would have to be Tuesday,
Next Tuesday?
next Tuesday.
It couldn't be any later than that because you have to vote to
Right.
approve it on Tuesday so it can be posted on Wednesday.
And Monday's a holiday.
Okay, the motion to open the warrant with the closing date of next Tuesday.
Okay, I motion that.
Could you put it with all friendly amendment, could you have a time for closing it on Tuesday so that,
I think we should have a time, if we want to have a meeting in the evening, we could close it by 4 o'clock on Tuesday,
Okay.
And that's what, next Tuesday?
next Tuesday.
So we'll meet next Tuesday.
Even if it's by Zoom, we,
The 27th. I'm open.
I'll be in the city all day, but I'll be here.
are
Okay.
you available?
So May 27th, we'll have a quick meeting.
Quick.
Yeah, on, we can do it like a normal time, 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's fine.
7 o'clock next Tuesday.
Okay.
So there's a motion to open the warrant to be closed at 4 o'clock on the 27th, and we'll have a meeting on at 7 o'clock on the 27th,
Yes, please.
We'll close it at 4
right?
PM on
And
Tuesday.
then we'll
have a
vote on it.
sign. That'll
Vote,
work.
sign, and you can post it the next morning.
Yep,
Okay.
that'll work.
Okay, someone like to move that whole
Yes.
mess? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Did we vote this special too? Do we have to?
beats the heck out of me. I don't know.
We voted.
Do we have a vote?
I might have interrupted that.
Did we vote on the special town meeting on having it on that 3rd? We did not, okay.
No.
So, motion to hold a special town meeting June 11th at 6 PM.
Okay. Second? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And just to kind of circle around and close the last thing there, speaking to the superintendent of the groundbreaking yesterday with Mary Beth, they expect to have a certified number to us by the Wednesday before that, June 4th.
4th.
So we will have a week after that to finalize our numbers for town meeting.
That's why the numbers won't be embedded in what we post.
Exactly.
Okay.
Real tight.
Anything else? Okay, old business, Park Avenue School. Mary Beth.
Yes, so Park Avenue School, we last discussed that several months ago, and we needed to determine, in order for the attorney's office to move forward with this issue, do we want to keep the property, the Park Avenue School, or is the town interested in selling the property? And I think the consensus was, and it may be different, correct me if I'm wrong, that the town wanted to keep that. It's a beautiful piece of land. There's, rare trees. It's just a beautiful park area. So I think we just want to talk about that again. What could we do with that land, and how could we fund it, whether it's with CPC, community preservation money? And I think that Justin wanted to add.
Yeah, so I asked to have this added back to the agenda for tonight. So the last time we discussed it, there was sort of the same consensus. We'd like to keep the property and do some specific municipal purpose so that the lawyers can try and get us released from the deed restriction. I think if we were able to come to a consensus on what that specific municipal purpose was, they could move forward and attempt to release it so that we can do something with the land. My suggestion would be, anything that we can fund with community preservation funds, because that's a separate pot of money from the budget, which is tight. I looked into what other towns have done with their community preservation funds, and they've been able to fund demolition projects that furthered an open space or recreation project. So if we had something that met those criteria, we could even borrow against future CPC earnings, or not earnings, but future CPC funds, to start something a lot sooner and get that old school out of the way.
John?
Yeah, I love the idea. Something like an amphitheater or something like that that could be used, I think would be excellent. But definitely working with the Community Preservation Committee to make sure that this is funded through, separate from the operating budget, I think is really smart at this time.
Question, are we looking to just knock the building down and fill in and make it and just plant grass or whatever?
From what I understand, the building does need to be raised because of the condition that it's in.
So I think the more specific we can get for council, probably the better. If we had, it's something beyond just something that qualifies as open space or recreation for the purpose of CPC funds would probably help. There's historic trees on the site. I think anything that is sort of parkland, open space, amphitheater, dog park. I know there's a lot of grants for that around right now. Is something that we could pursue probably sooner.
And how do we bring it to a formal conclusion?
I think either this board decides or we seek some input from the community to say, what would you like to see us do with this property? I think the open space committee, I'm looking at Kathy Keefe now.
Yes.
Was there a survey done on what the public might like to see there? Do you recall?
I can have that furnished for your next meeting, but I do recall dog park, things along that nature. So I could get a definitive answer for you.
So we have a community survey already.
Call me.
Okay, so maybe at a future meeting, not too far away from now, we can have something specific that we can.
Something, but he can't hear me.
Thank you.
She had something?
Yes.
I didn't want to interrupt you. And I appreciate you bringing to the table the dog park, because amphitheater goes right over my head, especially with the new middle school that we had groundbreaking yesterday. Sorry I wasn't there, I didn't know about it. But I think the dog park alone I don't want to see the property destroyed. I went to school there. Many people went to school there. And it's beautiful. And I love animals. So I'm not saying that dogs destroy things, but they do. So when I suggested a dog park, it was in conjunction with a shelter only because we need one on grants, not because I care. Then I feel that these days the police and any authority figure and the children and the people, the residents in general, are losing touch. And I think that a canine unit or a comfort dog unit, separate than the shelter, the completely different, entrances and whatever, but would bring the community to the people, because animals are we see it with Harrington all the time, and the interaction with dogs is unbelievable. So I have no preference. Canine unit does amazing work, or comfort. And then I was thinking the dog park, because that's kind of a meeting place. But if it had those other two entities, and then you could throw the museum in there if you wanted as well. But if it did, then there would be more oversight. So we wouldn't have people destroying the property, which I'd rather see an amphitheater if that was the case, because I don't want to see it destroyed. And thank you for listening.
Okay, so the next meeting we'll have something more specific to.
Some survey results.
Okay. Request from the Whitman Food Pantry for the use of the DPW Administration Building. Who is speaking on this?
I guess I can do that. Moral support.
Okay, if you could just introduce yourself to the camera.
Sure. I'm Rick Clark, Bayberry Road.
Lauren Kelly, Martin Street.
Yeah, so we're here tonight just to let people know, in case they don't know what the food pantry does. We're over on Blake Street now, behind the town park, and we're in a building and the building owner is fantastic, very good to us, but we're in the middle. He's on the outside, and he needs a building twice the size that we have already there. So we're taking his space, although he says he'll never get rid of us. Because he's a Catholic and he doesn't want to push us out. So that's great. But I think if we were to be able to have the DPW admin building, it's going to, get us out on a main road so people know where we are, because I bet nobody really knows where we are other than the people that go there all the time. So the visibility would be good so people know where to go to get help. And we help so many people. We take care of 60 plus families a month, and we take care of, I think this past year, We took care of over 1,000 families and over 2,500 individuals. And we gave out over 175,000 pounds of food. And, you know, it takes volunteers, money, and the volunteers are awesome. We have great people that come virtually every day and make sure everything's organized and ready to go. But we really could use the space and the ease of getting things in and out of the building. You know, and it would be a definite upgrade for the food pantry. And we do take care of the people of Whitman.
Okay, so you think that building would work for you?
Yes.
If-
Yes, I mean, I think, I don't know what the space is. I think where we are now is around 1,600 square feet. But the 2 floors, I imagine the 2 floors of that building have to be, if not the same, maybe a little bit more. And I think I could work that out to you know, once, if we were to get it, I could get in there, and I've been in construction all my life. I could figure out what we would need to do and get the right people involved so that we could make it work for us. And I would make it work for us. I mean, I'm the president of St. Vincent de Paul and the food pantry, so everybody's waiting for me to do something, and I would make sure that I take care of it along with the people that I have to make it happen and work for us, and you know,
And you
for years to come.
thought of other possibilities in the town besides that, and this is the best one?
I am constantly looking for any commercial space. I look on websites all the time, and even up down the street there where the antique stores are and everything. I looked into that, but the rent was so much that, I mean, it was like triple what we pay now, and we don't have that kind of money. If we did, I'd love it. I mean, if we had the bottomless pit of money, I'd go there. I would be there already, but we don't. So we're just looking for a little help, and I think we'll be of great service to the community to, you know, continuing.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Sean?
I like the idea, although there are another number of kind of groups that are interested in that property. You know, I think maybe we should work with the facilities director to get some good discussion and to work with him to figure out, you know, given the space that we have and the groups that are interested, what would be the best. You know, I don't feel comfortable myself just saying yes. I mean, obviously you do excellent work.
I wasn't, well, I mean, it would have been nice if you said, yeah, you have it, but I wasn't expecting that tonight, you know. Just wanted to put my information out to you and let you know what we do.
Yeah, excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mary Beth, do you know, can you fill us in a little bit on this? Is there other groups that are looking for that building? Have you?
Right. The only other one that I've heard about is for the museum. Ken Layler has reached out. But there's one thing, too, that I want to mention. I did speak with the town's insurance carrier, Tom DiPaolo from Maya, and he said, you just want to make sure, like, do you really want to be a landlord? You probably don't want to be a landlord.
Pardon?
Be a landlord, you know, on a property. So I think there would be, you know, other things we'd want to consider. Not that this couldn't be accomplished. It's just, you know, how we would, you know, handle the building and so forth. So there are other things to consider as well, no matter who ends up using the property. from the
Okay,
town.
is there any way we can get some answers on that so that the food pantry people aren't waiting forever for us to come up with
Sure.
with an answer?
Sure, I'll reach out to Tom DiPaolo, and I'll have him give me, you know, pros, cons. I know insurance is treated differently if it's not the town using, you know, the property and so forth. So, and that wouldn't matter whether we're the museum or the food pantry.
Right.
It's the building itself, and
And just
Justin?
kind of, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The town does currently lease, at least to my knowledge, 2 properties, the cable studio as well as the old Corthell building. So we've solved this before. I'm sure we can
Yep.
find another, yeah.
Yes.
Say something.
I want to thank you for all that you do, and I'm sure that we'll get this figured out. But maybe my solution of the museum being at the Park Ave, then you can.
That'd be great.
But I think that the visibility is better, and for me, thinking for the residents, and I know you do all the residents, young and older, people are under a misconception of that, but you're able to get in and out better. That street street is so narrow and it's a lot of housing. I'm surprised there hasn't been accidents, knowing your location. So I think that would be great, and I hope it's achieved.
Thank you.
And we'd like to extend an invitation to any of you who haven't been at the food pantry to please come down and take a tour and see where we're at. And maybe we can walk you through the process, of how we handle the neighbors that come under our roof, so to speak.
I want to tell you that I've used your food pantry, and I am extremely grateful. And I know many people that have used your food pantry, and you do a wonderful job, and you have for decades. So
It's funny you should say that because I got some information and we started way back in 1938.
I didn't go then.
1938, I did some. And then I think they were behind Millie's Lunch. They were at one gentleman's garage, Bob Myers. I don't know Bob. They were at his garage. They had 2 rooms at Holy Ghost at the Spelman Center. And then I was talking to Jim Davidson, who's our treasurer. He said in 1990, everything kind of came together. And it was St. Vincent de Paul and all the churches in Whitman collaborated. So that's how that came to be. So it's been a collaboration among all the churches to fund it since then. So,
And that's what community's about.
right.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
If I may, have you been inside the office of the DPW building?
Yes.
Because, first of all, you have trucks to pick up, drop off food?
We are, yes.
Okay, if you look at the truck ramp to the right side of the building,
Yes.
goes down the hill, wouldn't that be difficult to get a truck in and out?
No, it's only a 24-foot truck.
Okay, because, plus, I'm not too sure if that door goes all the way to the ground, because I know water was going into the cellar because of that, so they closed up that door. And the fact that going up and down stairs to carry stuff because it's a good-sized building. I'm the one that started with the museum. And I've been arguing with the DPW. They wanted to keep it for supplies, for storage of their material. And I said, no, we need a museum. You got a brand new big building. Find a space. We need a museum because we were kicked out of Marble Street, right? And then John brought it to his printing place. He passed away, and now it's out of there, and it's all stored at the Armory, right? And people are wondering where things are. Especially the police thing that was in the center of town for years. But anyways, that's why I suggested there, because of the fact that it's 2 floors and you can move it up and down, but you'd have to put an elevator where the stairway is, so like we have in Town Hall to meet the handicap speculations as far as getting that done. But anyways, I would think that the size of what you're doing now, that building would be too small. My personal feeling is, why not the Armory? The Armory is being used by the fire department, and the other half is being used by nobody. I don't know if the chief wants to talk about it, but I've talked to our facility manager, Todd, and he said, yeah, there's room in the Armory if you want to. It's a big building. If you wanted to use that, and you can get trucks in and out of there without a problem.
Have you seen?
I didn't know that was available.
Have you seen the food pantry? Have you been inside of it? Because
I've been
it's
by it,
not very big.
I know it's not very
It's
big, but the point
very
is,
small.
what they want is something larger.
Right.
And I don't think the DPW building would be big enough. I think you'd be there for a while, and then all of a sudden you're saying, it's just too small. It's not working, even though it's on a main street. But I don't know if our fire chief wants to talk about the Armory, but to me, that would be a place where you can, wide open space, and you can, as you say, and you're a carpenter, you can open it up and do what you want and not interfere with what they do. We got the dog pound there
No,
right
we
now.
don't
Well,
really.
we did have dogs
Yeah,
there,
we have
right?
a room.
Right, we had a room, but I'm saying it might be something to look at. Chief, go ahead, you're gonna argue with me.
You should go to the food pantry and see it.
Currently, the Armory houses a lot of different stuff right now.
Right.
we are full to the gills with DPW vehicles. I store approximately six.
Right, but I mean, when the
6 pieces of
DPW vehicles
apparatus.
are gone, and that armory is back the way it was 5 years ago when you guys went in it, right, and you got all that space, that's a huge
I think it'd be a
building.
major undertaking because you'd probably have to build something. It's a wide open area. You're great. It's the old Armory building, obviously. The windows are permeable. They don't stop anything.
No.
The only heat is one heater on the apparatus floor.
Yeah.
And there's currently one water line being run for one bathroom. There's one bathroom being used. I don't know about ADA. It's not ADA compliant. I can speak to off the top of my head from that. It's a wide open spot that we use for stuff. There are offices in front. The ACO used one room,
Yeah.
10 by 12.
I'm not even going to call that a room.
Yeah.
So, because I agree with you with the windows, and the heat
There's some work
and
to
the
be, there's a
water.
lot of work to be done there. I know there was a capital plan at one point to put boilers back in there and salvage it. I brought it forward several times to the facilities director. I'm concerned that's going to fall into disrepair like the Park Ave school, and then we have a second building that eventually becomes not usable. There is a lot of room there. I take up a lot of it because I don't have any place to put fire apparatus because of the size of the fire station. One side is the old kitchen area, but I mean, I think you're looking at a fairly significant renovation with windows, heat, getting the water, appropriate water service put in. And like I said, the boiler, there is a plan. I know the facilities director had a plan to put boilers in there, but obviously it's not going to happen this year. I mean, it is an open space, but I don't know. You talk about inaccessible, it's down Legion Parkway through the Catholic Church parking lot or beside the fire station.
I'm certainly sure the church wouldn't argue about going through their parking lot.
The church probably won't, but we do have neighbors.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chief Clancy? I'm assuming you would know because of your job. You have been in the food pantry, correct?
No.
Oh, well, maybe because I have. So I am seeing the DPW building as so much bigger. Am I delusional? You can say, but I really truly feel that it is much more bigger than the space you have now.
Not to be a naysayer, but don't we come back into the concern about being a renter? Again?
But that has already been accomplished twice in town with no issue. So, and I support anybody that feeds our residents.
Try to look at it. The facility manager, come with what he, look at both areas and see what he comes up with as a suggestion.
You've looked at the building and you think it'd be a good building for you,
Yes.
basically, okay? Yeah, I personally could not compare using a building for a museum. It has a lot of things in it that are now stacked someplace, and food for people who need it. I don't see that as much of a comparison at all. So I'd like to look at seriously having the food pantry moved to that building.
And like we said, we just came tonight, just
Right,
to open the discussion, and I think personally, both of us would say that we have to go down and look at it and make sure it
Right.
fits our needs all the way around too.
Absolutely.
But we just wanted to come and open the discussion because we have been looking.
I'm glad you
And
opened the discussion, and
Yeah,
I'd like,
I think
Yep.
the legacy would be for the town to have it in one spot
right.
that we knew we wouldn't be worried about whether we would have to leave the space or not.
Right.
An upgrade from being behind Millie's would be nice to have a nice space for it.
Yeah, I'd just like to move the discussion on too, so that it
Sure, that's what we get,
so it
yeah.
can come to a conclusion, without having to wait a long time for it.
But we'd love to have you come down. We're there every morning, from 8:30 in the morning. Well, I'm there probably closer to 9, but 8:30 to about 10:30. And we have a number of volunteers. So knock on the door and come on in and we'll give you a tour. Okay?
Thank you, Lauren.
All right, well, thank you.
I can get the square footage.
See you Sunday.
DPW in the meantime.
Pardon?
I can
Thank you.
get the square
Thanks.
footage.
Good.
Thank you.
And then I'll
Good. We'll
talk to
continue,
Tom.
we'll just continue this discussion at a future meeting, not too far in the future.
Okay.
Announce the upcoming meeting dates. June 11th is a special town meeting. We're going to have a meeting on the 27th, 7 o'clock?
June 27th?
No, May 27th. That's next week.
Yep.
Remember we voted that a little while ago? June 3rd, we won't, there's no need for a meeting on June 3rd. Correct? It won't, nothing that can happen. on
Meeting
June-
the 27th and the 11th. Yep.
Right, right. Okay. Town administrators report?
Town administrators, just a couple of things. Yesterday, they had the groundbreaking of the new Whitman Middle School, which some of us attended, and the town received 2 citations, one from the state senate in recognition of the groundbreaking for the Whitman Middle School, and one from state representative. So I thought that was very nice. It was a very nice service. There were photos taken that will be posted online. And today at our DPW building committee, Whitman Middle School building committee, I'm on so many committees, we took a tour of the area where the new school will go and back of the middle school. So that's really kicking into high gear. And the school district did go out and they got a 10-month ban for $30 million so they can keep the project moving. So that was great. And then I just wanted to mention that I know that the article did not pass to make the treasurer collector position appointed instead of elected. And it's something that, I really wish we could pass in town because we're way behind the curve. There are only 4 towns in all of Plymouth County that even have an elected treasurer collector. However, with that being said, we had somebody pull papers, and so there was one name on the ballot. She was elected, and she withdrew from the position. So where it's not appointed, we are still able to extend the appointment. I'll work with town council to have an updated MOU done. Sharon Lopiccolo, who was the former assistant treasurer collector, is interested in remaining in the position to fill out the remainder of the prior term from Ken Lytell. So while somebody was on the ballot, it was elected, she received votes, she didn't accept the position. So ultimately, we will be appointing. So I just wanted to update you on that.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. Yes, Justin?
Actually, yeah, one quick follow-up on the treasurer collector position. So procedurally, we elected someone to be the treasurer collector. Sharon LaPiccolo, her contract, or however we moved her in, I guess the MOU with the union, she moved back into her assistant position Monday?
Well,
Or I guess she's still here because
she's still right now.
Emily never got sworn in.
Right. Emily just did this yesterday. Actually, I just found out this evening. So we'll work quickly to get to extend so Sharon can stay in that position. And the assistant treasurer collector position currently is vacant. That was just a temporary position, actually held by Erica Adams, and she's accepted a position in the payroll department. So we'll be advertising, once we do this MOU, for the assistant treasurer collector internally and then externally.
All right, just making sure we have a treasurer collector right now.
Yes.
Anything else? We need to go into a couple of executive sessions tonight, and we'll be coming back into open session only to adjourn after they're over. First executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, Exception A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, regarding the Whitman Police Union and the Whitman Firefighters Association. Second executive session will be pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A, Exception 7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements, and that's to review and approve executive session minutes for 6/21/22, 7/12/22, 8/3/22, 8/9/22, and 8/16/22. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Is there a second? Please vote.
Yes.
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 Okay, we're in executive session. Thank you.